Hello San Diego, hello Comic Con, hello Hall H. You're looking a bit smaller and more like people's front rooms than I remember. I'm Chris Hewitt and welcome to this virtual panel for the UK produced Amazon original series Truth Seekers. Now in a few seconds I will be seeking truth from the creators and writers of the show, Nick Frost, Simon Pegg, Nat Saunders and Shaun Serafinowicz. But first, because this is Comic Con, we've got you an exclusive. Oh yes. You are about to be the first people in the world to see the teaser trailer. Well, actually, no, that's not true. I've seen it. You're going to be the second people in the world to see the teaser trailer. Actually, no, that's not true either. The people who made the show have seen it as well. You're going to be the third people in the world to see the teaser trailer for Truth Seekers. Here it is. Do please enjoy.
Can you feel it? Ancient magic resides all around us. Ours is not the only universe. There are realms beyond it, underneath it, a myriad of parallel dimensions.
Hey, did you steal one of my digestives?
No.
Welcome, Truth Seekers, to the Truth Seekers channel.
Good luck, guys.
We're on the cusp of something here. A gateway between worlds. I'll see you on the other side.
Careful.
I've been a paranormal investigator for 20 years. I'll take it from here.
Hello, ghosts!
There you go. The first ever look at Truth Seekers. You guys, you enjoy that? And now I am delighted to be joined by the creators. Yeah, it looks all right, doesn't it? The creators, the writers, and in some cases, the stars of the show. How you guys doing? How's the virtual Comic-Con treating you? Have you been able to walk the floor, the virtual floor yet?
I've bought so much. It's ridiculous.
They wouldn't let me in.
Oh, that's a shame. That's a massive shame. Maybe next year. Maybe next year. You never know. But Nick Lee, I'm going to start with you. Can you tell us? We got a brief glimpse there of Truth Seekers. What the show is about? What can people expect from Truth Seekers?
It's about a man seeking. Let's have a look at another clip.
We don't have another clip, Nick. We're just going to run. With
What is it? Okay, let's play the first one again.
Reenact some scenes.
It's just about. I think it's about a man, Gus, played by me, who, you know, he's lost, I think, and he's looking for some truth in many aspects of his life. And he gets put together with a lovely man at work, and together they form some kind of wonderful alliance and pick up friends along the way.
And in the end, it's real magic.
Are we
within
talking
them
about
all
Truth
along.
Seekers?
Yeah, I think
What?
so. It's hard to tell, honestly. But there's a horror element to this. There's a comedy element to this. Simon, obviously, you and Nick have got form in this genre by blending laughs and comedy, laughs and horror even. How difficult is it to strike a balance and to explore the horror comedy genre?
It's not difficult. I think you just have to not make fun of the horror. You know, it's tempting with genre fare to kind of parody that because it's fairly easy to parody something which asks you to suspend your disbelief because you can just sort of fold your arms and go, nah. But I think the key with horror comedy is to take the horror completely seriously and allow the comedy to exist adjacent to it.
The idea of having to play the horror straight is really interesting because that's what this show does. And James, can you take us back to the beginning and talk about the intention of the show? How did it all come about?
Well, we started talking about it I can't remember, Nick. It was like a long time ago. We've always been, yeah, like in a previous life. We've always been interested in ghosts and UFOs and all paranormal stuff, and we're always texting each other like articles that we've seen on Twitter or anything that's kind of, oh, look at this sighting that like above Mexico City. And so we just thought, how could we kind of harness our obsession with all of the paranormal in a show? And then we just kind of started talking about it. And Gus and Elton, we just thought if they worked as broadband installers, we just thought that's like the most boring, mundane job that you could have. But then couple it with them being exposed to this kind of like, hey,
I install broadband.
I was going to say, no offense
you said
to
it's
any
really boring.
broadband installers watching this panel.
I happen to really enjoy my
I think
job.
your job's great.
Without them, we wouldn't be doing this. They're heroes.
Yeah.
Heroes.
So we tried to couple the exciting world of broadband installation with the exciting world of the paranormal and ghosts. And that's kind of how it came about, really, wasn't it, Nick?
Yeah. A love of the X-Files as well. Simon and I used to go ghost hunting quite often, and imagine, wouldn't it be great if we had our own little ghost hunting gang, and that's all we did as a job. It has kind of been building for a long time, really.
And the tagline for the show and the teaser is "The truth is way out there," which does recall the X-Files. Is the X-Files the biggest? The chief influence on the show? What else is in there in terms of influences, Nat?
I think it was a mixture of like wanting to get like that X-Files kind of vibe, and then also like looking back at old episodes of like Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, reading old books about the Osborne Book of Ghosts and the kind of the paranormal stuff that kind of obsessed us when we were growing up, that scared us, scared the life out of us. And so we were kind of pulling from different kind of places, and then. Like as Simon was saying, we wanted to take the horror really seriously and then make the comedy really funny. So that the horror stuff it's never spoofy. It's homage, if anything. Like there might be things that you'll recognize from other films and TV shows that in this show, but hopefully we've kind of put a spin on them and taken them seriously. We haven't just kind of done a kind of goofy, like just let's add some laughs to a classic horror trope scene kind of thing. So they came from all over, but yeah, specifically, like James bought this collection of leather-bound paranormal books from Andy Nyman, the guy that directed Ghost Stories, and we spent hours poring over these books. And it's that kind of thing where the unexplained. That's it. Yeah, and you've got like spontaneous human combustion. You got like a photo of a charred old lady's foot in a fireplace that I remember as a kid just kind of frightened and fascinated me in equal measure. And we just wanted to bring a lot of that stuff to the show, like lots of kind of hauntology and psychogeography and number stations and weirdness that you kind of maybe haven't seen before.
I always thought it was amazing in those images that you used to get in those magazines of people that had died via spontaneous human combustion, apparently. Like Nat said, it was always like an OAP's leg, but they were always next to a 3-bar fire. It was just, there was always this telling little detail in the picture. They were always next to the fire or a heater of some kind. That was the only link I could make out.
Wasn't that spontaneous? Yeah. But like the other thing with Arthur C. Clarke was they'd be talking, like they'd always talk so seriously about the subject, whether it was like a giant snake in the Amazon or whatever. Worms. But then the people they would interview would always have the stupidest names, and like I can't. There's one guy who's a sheriff, and Poch Didier, yeah. And he's talking about like a rain of frogs. But can you remember any other names? It's like literally.
I can remember Mike Snarskis, Poch Didier,
Mike Snarskis,
yeah. There are others. Names. They're worth checking out on YouTube. The old Arthur C. Clarke, World of Mysterious Powers, and whatever the other one was called. I think they're all on YouTube. And yeah, there was a lot of inspiration taken from those kind of shows.
That was a show
and from YouTube as well, and from watching stuff on YouTube like watching exorcisms on YouTube, and it's so obvious, it's so wonderfully obvious it isn't. But for that second you're watching it and you get that weird chill up your back and you think, maybe it is real. And it is.
There is some creepy stuff on YouTube. Actually. There's some really, obviously, But there are a couple of good scares that you might find in a horror movie on YouTube that are supposedly real, but of course they're not.
You know, YouTube is it's just clips that people themselves put on the internet.
Is it?
Yeah, it's not. There's no studio behind it.
Oh, I thought it was YouTube going around filming all these things.
Imagine if it was just all shot by a studio.
Everything on YouTube.
By Jeff.
Everything
YouTube,
on YouTube was If you wait long enough, no one's ever watched a YouTube clip till the end. But if you wait long enough, there are credits.
Written, directed, starring by Jeff YouTube. But it's interesting because Nick, Gus is a YouTuber. So did that aspect of the character come from that? What else can you say about Gus?
I think with Gus with his YouTube, I think he has to not like it and to not be bothered about followers. But as the show, goes on, you can see that he's really desperate to be taken seriously, I guess. Gus is alone. I don't know how much I can say. I don't want to give too many spoilers away. But he's alone. What can I say, chaps? Can I say that he's alone, or
aren't the first couple of episodes fair game in this world? I don't know. Like, do we, or at least the first episode, we can say stuff from that one, can't we?
Everything up to the end of the 8th episode. Usually, that's fine.
Right?
Yeah, fine.
He died.
He lost. He lost someone very close to him, and his love of the paranormal came from her. And when she died, he picked up the reins, so to speak, to see if there was a chance that he could potentially see her or meet her again, or if not here, then certainly in some other realm.
Yeah. Yes. Like YouTube.
And that is, and that's his drive, That's that. But sadly, that doesn't pay the bills. So, he has to get up and go and, as James said, he works for a company called Smile, and he is a broadband engineer. So that's what pays the bills. And then in his downtime, he's on YouTube.
That's basically it. Just a man surfing YouTube. And talk of Smile brings us to you, Simon, as well, because you play Dave, who is Gus's boss at Smile. I have to say, that's a hell of a barnet he's got there. Amazing stuff.
Yeah, I was the one sort of deal breaker for me in playing Dave was that I wear a terrible wig that made me look like a mannequin. But there's reasons for everything in Truth Seekers, and there's a truth behind every facade. But it was a lot of fun. Yeah. It was, because he's just sort of relentlessly positive, and I just sort of crop up in a couple of scenes every episode, and there's one I'm not in, and sort of give Gus and Elton their assignment for the episode, which is usually to install broadband somewhere, and he works with this company called Smile, which are a sort of thinly disguised Sky type organization, multinational broadband provider who may or may not be nefarious in their aims and deeds.
Interesting.
Let's have a look at a clip.
Again, we don't have the clip. Simon and Nick are going to have to act it out. Do you remember the script? Can you just act out like a brief 3 to 5 minute scene? Just do it now.
I can't remember pre-lockdown anything.
What my dad looked like.
It's a different world.
It is an interesting fact. The wig cost us $8,000.
And there was one exactly the same.
What I'm getting for this is amazing.
There was one that
Simon's
was exactly the same.
Deal breaker meant that two departments didn't get fleeces when we wrapped.
Nick's wearing that wig now on his chin.
Simon and Nick, I believe you guys have worked together. I looked it up on the internet beforehand. What was it like reuniting on this one, no matter how briefly?
It was all right.
Good, excellent, James and Nat. There's a old school horror feel to this show. How did you go about doing that?
Well,
Yeah, well, we
kind of okay.
You went to an
the
old
director,
school,
Jim
didn't you?
Field Smith. Yeah, we went to an old. No, like the idea was that it was going to be a lot of practical effects over CG. The locations were all going to be like real, abandoned, potentially haunted places. Everything, like even the lenses, were like they were kind of like. They were used on, what was it, Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, the lenses were used on Return of the Jedi and Raiders of the Lost Ark. So they got the shows,
but only second unit.
Only second unit.
It was just stills. It was just a stills unit.
But yeah, so it's got like an old feel that you kind of can't really replicate with cameras now. So it's something really authentic about it.
And Nat, did you find that your love of ghosts developed when you wrote A Christmas Carol?
This is a specific dig at my lockdown hairstyle. I'm not in any way claiming that I helped Charles Dickens write any of his major works. I wasn't alive when he did. This is purely victimization about my current haircut. So,
but you did use a quill when you were writing out the scripts, yeah?
Well, I did, yeah.
Yeah.
How did you get that haircut, Nat? It's incredible.
Can we just
we're all on lockdown here. Can't go near a barber. Okay,
you got it from a website called
It's off limits. Simon, I just wanted to go back briefly to working with Nick. How was it for you?
Yeah, it's always fun. You know, it's like coming home, and it's all. I always feel cozy when we're on set together. You know, because it's very easy. And I didn't do my bits until right at the end of the shoot, and so Nick and the gang were all very much ensconced, and it was like, you know, walking into starting a new school. But you know, him being there made it very, very easy, and it was I mean, what can I say? It's like it's my baseline, you know, for working.
Just like wearing a nice old pair slide on in, and
yeah, it's like slipping into a place. Putting on an old smoking jacket or, you know, a diving suit.
It's always nice to have Simon on set. It's always nice to see him and to... Oh, that's my Deliveroo. Excuse me.
Did you bring one for everybody?
Yeah. We got 36 streets. We've got some Korean food. I just love looking on the call sheet and seeing that Simon's in. You know, because you know you're gonna have a laugh and catch up and chat or not chat or you know it's we'll get to work with your best mate. You know,
absolutely. And you mentioned they're the gang, and we saw the teaser trailer. There's a number of other characters we haven't really talked about. You mentioned Elton, Malcolm McDowell's in the show as well. It's a fantastic cast. What can you say about the other characters? Truth Seekers.
We have just an amazing cast. Obviously, there's Nick and Samson Kayo playing his partner Elton, and then Simon. But you know, we've managed to get Malcolm McDowell. We've got Emma Darcy playing this character Astrid, who comes to the gang for help solving a ghost problem. We've got Susan Wokoma, who's amazing as Helen. She plays a kind of agoraphobic, slightly tense sister of Elton's character, and she's just awesome. I mean, everyone's great. I don't need to kind of say after their names.
Everyone's exactly. No one did knock out the park.
No, say the ones that aren't great.
Game.
That one guy was.
Actually, I was a bit in my cameo actually. So there was one guy that wasn't great.
Oh yeah, you're in it, aren't you? Yeah.
And Julian Barrett. We got Kevin Eldon in. We got. We just got like a never-ending stream of like just great performers coming in and just doing like some really weird, kind of strange little roles. Some of them like doing kind of stuff that they probably hadn't done before. There's some very, you know, oddball characters peppered throughout the series. There's a few that we're going to like kind of leave because they're kind of surprises for the viewers. They kind of come in later in the season, some guest star roles. So it was just, everyone was just brilliant, and everyone, I think, kind of like bought into the kind of the spooky, creepy, fun weirdness to the show, and brought something special to their part.
Yeah, and it was really cool working with Malcolm McDowell, and we even filmed at Brunel. Was it Brunel University where they shot some of Clockwork Orange, which was like, it was just great being with him, just listening to his stories. No, he wasn't there that day, but I didn't say that, but he was in spirit. He was in London.
He was.
Yeah.
We bonded over. Me and Malcolm bonded over Star Trek because we're both. I don't know if you guys know, we're both in Star Trek. And he told me a funny story about William Shatner from Generations.
He's in Star Trek as well, isn't he?
Oh, so it's not repeatable, that story.
He's the bad guy in Generations.
He kills Kirk.
Is it repeatable?
It was fun. He did. No, it's not really repeatable. He told me in confidence, and I think Shatner would probably have it.
What
another teaser trailer.
Let's take a look at a clip from Star Trek Generations.
Tune into Comic-Con late. You'll find out the truth behind that story.
Nick, do you have any amazing anecdotes that you can share with us?
What, about the Wrath of Khan?
Yeah, like has anyone told you about any incredible scenes they've shot over the years, but they can't go to
Simon's
details?
Stuff was good. Once I wrapped, Simon came in and did some great comedies. I don't know, we got to shoot in some great places. That's one of the things I love about acting, doing this job. We got what was that lady's house? It was like a Tudor interior and a Georgian exterior, right?
Yeah,
well, we were filming
it was incredible. We shot quite a lot of stuff there.
We were filming a creepy scene that involved a vivisectionist, and then the woman who let us use her property was like, "Oh, great, because I used to do a lot of vivisections in this place." And it was like, "Oh no, this is actually quite grim."
No.
And then we did actually film. We filmed in a disused bio lab at some point, and we realised that it was probably the creepiest of all the locations because we'd already done like a lot of like kind of Victorian abandoned haunted mansions and a haunted hospital and all this stuff, but the recently disused biolab and the terrifying, chilling clinical cages and gas chambers within were definitely there was definitely some very unpleasant things that went down in this place.
Oh my god! So that leads very nicely to the last question, which is, we've heard that Simon and Nick used to go ghost hunting. Did you all go ghost hunting? Simon, what were your memories of going ghost hunting with Nick? Did you ever find any?
We'd occasionally drive out to an abbey or a church and run up to the door and knock on the door and go, "Oh, hello, ghosts."
There was that church in High Beach that we went to. We went to walk around there in the dark, and there was a mist. And then that night where we heard the bell ringing constantly, that was a ghost.
That wasn't ghost hunting though. We were just in bed and
there's been lots of things that have. And then that one where we found that station in the forest.
Oh yeah, that was amazing. We found the original Highgate tube station in the woods in Highgate, and it was like we'd stepped into this completely kind of unknown world, and it was
incredible.
Creepy.
All the lights were on.
Yeah, it was like Brigadoon or something. It just like appeared. But we had drunk a lot of cider that
waiting
night.
For us.
It hasn't been seen since.
Yeah. And then a train came, and we got on the train.
3 liters of strong cider each.
Yeah, it wasn't. And then Nick knocked himself out, and I thought he was messing around, so I just left him in the wood. He's never forgiven me for that. I went back home and ordered some Chinese.
I came back 2 hours later, and he was sat in a Chinese.
I thought he was pulling the longest game. I was like, Nick is dead. He's really committed to this. This is amazing. I was really... And I opened the door and he was just there all like soaking wet. He went, "You left me."
You left me.
Now Nick's been dead for 10 years.
Nick, he was dead all along. Yeah, Nick's a ghost.
No spoilers.
Yeah, no spoilers.
So I gotta ask, of all of you, do you believe in ghosts? Do you believe in the paranormal? Is there something out there?
No.
Okay.
I've
Maybe.
seen a UFO.
Yes.
I believe in UFOs, in aliens.
Ah.
I believe in aliens, but I don't believe in UFOs.
Do you believe in
I believe in
ghosts
alien
of
ghosts.
aliens?
Yeah.
I don't believe. I believe if an alien died, it wouldn't come back as a ghost. So it's only
would
one
not have a
degree of
ghost.
belief that I have.
So, if you believe in aliens but you don't believe in UFOs, how do they get here?
Well, they don't.
On spaceships.
I mean, I believe that they live out there on other planets, but I doubt they come and visit.
Okay.
They don't
I got you,
necessarily
I got
have transport. You know what I'm saying?
Fair enough.
He believes
but
in
no
UFOs.
ghosts. Okay.
There's no point owning a flying saucer in this galaxy, believe me.
I've
Yeah,
seen
this is
one.
true.
I've totally seen one. And it was as clear as day, even though it was at night.
I thought I saw one. I went out ghost hunting, and we parked next to Fairford Air Base, me and my friend. And again, I think weed may have been involved when I was in a ghost hunting collective called Codename Lizards, and we saw what we believed was a UFO landing at the airbase, and we recorded ourselves reacting to it, and so we could play it back to other people later as proof. But it was just an aeroplane, so it wasn't a UFO. It was an FO.
But was your reaction as if it was a UFO?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I still have the recording, even though it's from 30 years ago. I still have the recording of excitedly screaming, "Oh my god, look at that." It was because it was really quiet. It just felt quite eerie.
Me and Nick we were at Area 51. We went to Area 51 and we did a bunch of stuff just outside the base there, and we saw a bunch of ultrasonic aircraft, but no flying saucers.
That was for Paul, was it? In research?
Yeah. No, actually, it was when we were doing the press for Paul. We went out to Area 51.
James, I got to ask you about your UFO.
Yeah, so I was in Ibiza on holiday, and I was 16.
Oh, yeah.
So this is pre
Tripping off
anything
his nut.
illegal.
Tripping balls.
And me and my friend and these two girls, we went down to the beach to look at the moon, because that's what you do when you're 16 and you're on holiday. And
Or having a little
this
kiss.
day was I was having a little kiss. And but so we went down and it was all overcast all over the sea, so you couldn't see anything apart from this big shining light that was right over the sea. And it was almost like it was strobing, and it was lighting up the whole of the sea. And then it went really faint, so it kind of went away, and then it just came right back and went over our heads. And it was like it was like the Borg ship from Star Trek. It was like a big rectangle, and it had domes and stuff on the side and lights. And not only did I see it, all of the people who were there saw it. And so it was like four of us at this kind of this shared experience. But that's why I believe in it. So there we go, the end.
And how many lights? How many lights did it have on it?
Loads.
Was it like a kind of? And how many pills had you done?
Loads.
I thought so.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Promise.
Amazing stuff. But guys, that is all the time we have, I'm afraid. I wanted to thank you all so much for taking time to do this and for answering, I think, some of my questions. I'm not entirely sure. But thanks once again to Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, Nat Saunders, and James Serafinowicz. And don't forget, of course, Truth Seekers will be launching on Prime Video.
Nick's pretending to freeze. Oh no, he is frozen. Sorry.
Don't forget, Truth Seekers is going to launch globally on Amazon Prime Video later this year. And believe me, guys, the truth is way out there. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.